had a song called Tupac Must Die.
Yeah.
Listen, though, okay, as a Tupac diehard fan, when I heard that song, I'm like, this nigga crazy.
Yeah, sure. It looked crazy.
Yeah.
It didn't sound crazy, but it looked crazy.
Listen, but after I watch it, I'm like, oh, okay, so he made it to Orlando's eyes, point of view. You know what I mean? That's what I'm taking from it. My thing is, why did you make that song?
At that time, I was starting to really understand what hip hop was. Like, you know, you hear a lot of people scream they understand hip hop or they was raised hip hop because they listen to rap songs. Well, I grew up listening to rap songs as well and hip hop songs. But if I emulate LL Cool J, that's not hip hop.
Yeah.
That's me wearing a costume. If I emulate Fat Boys, you know, shout out, rest in peace to Buck and Mark. If I emulate them, I'm not being hip hop. I'm actually kind of biting. If I emulate, you know, these people I grew up listening to, Kane, NWA, Rakim, KRS-One, Snoop Dogg, Ice-T, Dr. Dre, Wu-Tang, Nas, Jay-Z. If I emulate them, I'm not being hip hop. So I kind of knew that already. Scarface is my favorite in the world. He knows. So it's like, I can't emulate him.
Right.
So I didn't really felt like I understood what being hip hop was. Now that don't mean I couldn't rap or I couldn't articulate my story, but at that time I really got a grasp on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I knew at that point what would work for me in hip hop is me giving you this cultural take on a popular situation from the perspective that I'm familiar with. I grew up being a crip. Like, even before I was put on a gang, I was a crip. I grew up in crip neighborhoods. My older homie was crip. Everybody around me always was a crip. So I know how crips think. I know how crips see the world. If there are like-minded ideas, because again, every person is an individual, but you know, if there are some like-minded cultural things, morality is one of those things where it's like, you know, we're not going to go for you doing things to us and letting you get away with it. So to me, it just made a good point. You know, Tupac died, it was time to make a good point about this is how we see the world. And I knew I could give the world a sneak peek's mind into our culture and how we grow up and how we think. So in my mind, it was like this brilliant idea of showcasing street urban culture from a Crip's perspective and morality. To everybody else, it was like, oh man, you know, Tupac could have beat up my dad and I wouldn't have cared. And it's like, well, we don't grow up that way. You know, we don't grow up believing if you kick the shit out of our friend, it's okay. We don't care what you did in this life. No man is the program is like the greatest lesson in that story.
Yeah. So do you think, because, you know, you did receive a lot of hate after that song, do you think that people understood the meaning behind it, or do you think that people kind of misunderstood where you were coming from and just saw the Tupac, you know, image? You know what I mean? Like,
That's it.
I mean, just because we've just had an interview with Jeff Pearlman, who wrote the book, you know, about Tupac, and we got some hate on our page too.
Jeff
because
is my God, man, such a good dude.
Yeah.
Jeff is an awesome dude, man.
But I'm just saying, like, so when you put something out there about Tupac that isn't in the conventional, you know, kind of atmosphere, do you think that people kind of just misunderstood your meaning?
Part of the reason I decided to do it is because I realized Tupac rose from out of our, you know, street urban culture and just black people in general to a deity.
Right.
Like, I already see Pac as a deity. I watched it happen with my friend, you know, one of my friends in Nipsey Hussle. You know what I mean? I'm watching his brand slowly rise into a deity.
Yeah.
So he no longer belongs to me and people just from LA, Crips who knew him or are proud of him. He's becoming he's becoming property of the world. People are going to live their life by his teachings.
Right.
And no different than Jesus.
Yeah.
So at that time, I knew that there was going to be some backlash, but I knew it wouldn't have no real credence because it's like, you know, everybody loves a dead black man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If Tupac was getting this much love alive, you know, again, this is one of those moments where he probably wouldn't, you know, been in that situation.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have to make such, you know, dire sacrifices and commitments to expression, you know what I mean, just to get, you know, on top of the game. So it's like, I knew most of these people felt how they felt, but I knew most of them, even if my intent was to be insulting, it's not nothing too many people can do or going to do.
Yeah.
You got to really tap into people who people care about, something that's real. And unfortunately, deities, they don't get protection. It's 100 rappers that diss Jesus every day, but it's 1 billion people that pray to Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people get mad at me because I won't even mess with the rappers that diss Jesus.
Right.
Like these rappers that have 666 and talk about Satan and turn crosses upside down. People still function with those people.
Right.
You know what I mean? They still have fans. I want to beat up their fans and the rapper. So, but that's part of also being a crip and being committed to things that oppose me and coming at that with force. So most people, even if I understood most people wasn't going to understand it, most people ain't going, squash a grape at a winery. It ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, okay, as a guy who's a crip from LA, did you know any of the guys from the Cadillac, like Orlando, Keefe, or
Yeah, I heard the story specifically from Big Dre or Freaky. We used to call him Freaky Dre, but Dre's mouth. Dre is one of the brothers that was in the situation. He passed away a while ago. Mm-hmm. He actually booked me for my 3rd paying show ever.
Okay.
But I knew him young. He's a little older than me. Baby Lane, all of those guys were older than me. Right. But my mom knew Keefe D that's locked up, so I knew who he was already. We had already crossed paths. Dre was my man, and I know a lot of people out their community. My mom, before she passed away, went to prison. She owned a house in their community as well. So not only did I grow up in the vicinity and knowing people over there my whole life, but some of them are my friends. One of them is responsible for me changing my life, Wavy. It's Black and Wavy and different people, Martell, guys from that neighborhood and that community in general, that made it possible for me not to have to have drugs anymore.
Yeah.
There's so many people I know from that community, Little Ira, a bunch of people. I've known them growing up, and I knew them after, it happened.
So, when Dre came back to LA, what did he tell you from his point of view?
Say that again?
Dre, when he came back to LA, what did he tell you? What happened from his perspective?
It wasn't like when he came right back, right? It was like later on in time.
Okay.
Like I just asked him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was forthcoming with information. Like, let me tell you about this happened. He was like, hey, what really happened with y'all? I just wanted to know, like, I'm a crip from the area, I grew up in the same vicinity and we know each other and, you helping me, like there's a relationship. And I just wanted to know, hell,